Hello, hello. All right. So I got all of y'all live. Let's see. All right. How are you guys? Look, I didn't even press to. Okay. So I have both of you on here. Group. Oh, let me pull it up, guys. All right. I have group and page. All right. So we're going to talk today about something. You had a couple topics that I wanted to talk about today, but so I'm like back and forth. I need to go upstairs to my office so I have one camera. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this because it's interesting, an attorney had mentioned this to me and I was always wondering about it, but I had not really honestly paid much attention to it. Just because it didn't come up as much as it is now. Okay. So right now, it has come up a lot by, not just parents that I have right now, but also it's come up with, just the general population. All right. And can you guys see me here? Let me see. Discussion. I don't know. Are people on the group? I don't even see y'all if you are. Let me see. Hang on one second, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Your live video will be shared to the group. No? Okay. I don't like going live on Facebook. It sucks. And I am on the group right now, and I don't like it at all. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should log off and log back on. I don't know. Who's on the page? Okay, let's see. Hey guys, how are you? How are you? All right. So if you're on the group, say hi to me so I know you are on the group. Say hello so I know that you are here because I struggle with this stupid Facebook thing. Like, I love this. It's streaming and it's easy. Yeah, you guys see me because I have this streaming going on here. The group, I'm on Facebook live and it sucks. So I'm trying to figure out who is on the group, if they can see me. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, so here's the deal. So I was talking to an attorney and I was just going over some things with them and trying to figure out. So if you're on the group, say hi to me so I know that you are on here because I have no idea. I don't like how this group stuff works. I'm going to get a different program because I do not like Facebook Live. Okay, so what we were talking about is school districts and what's going on these days and all the drama and the things that are leading up to the drama. And, I've always said, as we went through COVID and the nightmares that COVID, brought about, I mentioned that next year is going to be a shit show. And hi, Bibi. Hi, Kim. Hi, Bill. Hey, Gina. Hey, Christina. How are you? How are you? And if anybody's over here on the group, I know there people are. I see it, but I don't see comments. So I don't know what's up with that. Kim, do you want to go over to the group and see if, did you get my comment on the group? It's up. It is up? No, I didn't get the comment. So I need to figure out, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to push. I'm like stupid with this stuff, guys. Anybody know what I push? Okay, so yeah, I don't know what's up with the comments. Let me log off and log back on. Who knows? Okay, so bottom line, what I'm talking about today is holding your child back. Okay? And okay, Kim. And so it's come up a lot lately. All right. And I've always said that's a personal issue, concern, parent decision, caregiver, grandmother, whoever has the child with them. That's not something that is my choice. I try not to get, I'm IEP education related. I try not to get involved with politics. That drives me nuts. I try not to get involved with, if a child should get shots, should they not get shots. That's not my realm of expertise. My realm of expertise is straight up IEPs, idea, and, making sure children get what's needed and appropriate. All right. And if the school system's not willing to do that, then what you need to do to get them to do that. And sometimes that's scary for parents because it's that feeling of the unknown of, is this going to make my child going to suffer because I'm finding a school? Is it going to cause, something crazy to happen? Group videos working, but you aren't saying comments. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. So, it's one of those. So I'm going to log off, guys, and then I'm going to come back on, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Give me a second. All right, so I'll log back on in a second. So bottom line, what's crazy about what's going on today leading up to the shit show that's going to happen next year. You think this year was a shit show? This year was just a pandemic that none of us expected. All right. Kids regressed, things happened, but in the grand scheme of things, this is nothing to do with school districts doing right and wrong. All right. It has to do with the pandemic. You and I both know that the school systems have been doing things not so great for quite some time. Nothing to do with the pandemic, right? So with that said, what's important to remember, I'm going back on the group, guys, so hopefully, it works. What's important to remember is that these issues have been going on for some time. It's just kind of, it heightened, got to the tip of the iceberg, if you will, once COVID hit. Parents were able to actually see from teaching their own children, they were actually to see, oh my God, my child is really behind this. I didn't realize this, And when you don't realize something, it comes as a shock to you. I know exactly what's going to happen. Oh yeah, it's going to be a shit show. And so it's really important to not only prepare yourself for next year, but also keep some things in mind. All right. You guys want to hear this. So if you want to share this, share it. And then I am going to try to keep this short and simple and then go. All right. And you guys can get on with your evening because I'm sure your ideal evening was not sitting and listening to me. All right. So getting there, Misty. Don't go talking about what I'm talking about today yet. So no, seriously, guys. All right, so hold on one second. Let me try to figure out this stupid group. Anybody know how I can have where you guys see my start screen share? All right, let's just hope that people can see my posts. My principal said to me they are refusing to request my request for an IE because they said because they need to do more testing first before I can ask for an IEE. Well, did they already do an assessment? If they already did an assessment, Christine, then they cannot say no. Or let me switch that. They can say no, but then they have to put in a request for due process, which is not likely. So I'm curious. All right, I'm going live again on the group. Someone go check, see if I see something. Who knows? Hey, guys, I'm trying this again on the group. All right. So it's important to understand that this year, all right, there's nothing that can go wrong if you want to hold your child back. All right. So with that said, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mom Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. Now, mind you, we are, in summer. You may think, oh, I'm going to take an IEP break. No, please don't. It will be the worst decision of your lives. All right, yay. Hey, guys, how are you? I can see y'all. Cool. Okay, so everybody can see me on the group now. So what's important to remember is that, and I said this to I had two IEPs today, not IEPs, but they were short ones. One of them went longer than, I thought, well, they both did, but they were both in regards to ESY. So I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about today, and then I'm going to tell you a story because you want to hear this. And this is the bullshit that they pull all the time. It's so weird. My older computer has such a darker thing. All right, so this is the deal. Schools do what's called social promotion. All right, so what is social promotion? Social promotion is when the school makes decisions based on the fact that based solely on the fact that they want to make sure that either financial benefits stay in line or for the data, all right, and the benefits. So social promotion of a school district is either financially based or data based and the benefits of either. Okay, so let's go into detail about that. So having a school that socially promotes means, okay, mom, dad, grandma, whoever wants to hold their child back, right? Very rarely, that doesn't mean they don't, because I've heard of it, and I've heard it happen this year with myself in schools and children I've worked with. So it's not all schools, but a lot of schools will fight parents who want to hold their child back. All right. And there's no rule, law, or anything on this, okay, that the school district has this, ability or the parent has this ability. So that's the screwy part of it, because someone's got to make a decision. Someone's got to, so it's kind of like once you make enough stink, then usually, it'll happen. But know that the schools typically will not promote it, will not, say, oh yeah, let's hold your child back, no problem, that's a good idea. And, I don't, like I was saying earlier, I don't really get into the middle of that because that's a personal decision for you. And thanks, Kim. Thanks, Christina. Hey, Kristen, thank you so much for checking. I love y'all. Thanks. And so it's really important to, one, know why you want to hold your child back. All right? You are the only person who knows why. And it's okay. No matter what the reason is, you have reasons to do it. And I don't know any parent or caregiver or loved one who has, custody or, power of attorney, if you will, over a child that they're just going to say, oh yeah, I want to hold this child back in school. That's just what I want to do. We don't do that for kicks. It's either it's a needed and appropriate thing or it's not. Okay. And so schools refusing to move to the next level, move a child to the next level, or are refusing to, are moving a child to the next level when they're not ready and they're academically not ready and they don't have the ability to move forward, that they're regressed or they haven't made any progress and things are a little bit more substantial. It is something that would light a number of ears and fears if reported to the paper. All right. A lot of parents don't realize the power that they have with this mouth of theirs and what your ability to create change in talking about things that may happen to you. Now, you want to make sure that it's substantial and you want to make sure that, meaning that it's something that, is factual and something that, is really happening and that sort of thing. But the papers grasp onto these things, hands down. All right. So a school system refusing to hold your child back when they are academically unable to do it is not appropriate. Now, if you choose as parents, yeah, let's put my child forward, or the school doesn't say anything and you want to choose to have your child put forward, that's fine. And the school still has to meet your child where they are, but it's a choice. All right. And I can't say that it's your choice and I can't say that it's their choice, but it's a choice that has to be made each and every year. And as parents, you do hold quite a bit of power in making that decision. Don't just say, hey, I want to hold my child back and then accept the fact that they said, no, we don't do that. All right. Because they are king and queen of saying, no, we don't do that. I was in an IEP meeting today, and they put, and this was in my own state. I was actually, both my IEP meetings today was in my own state. And the school district, oh, we're not playing games. We're not playing games. The last meeting was great. We collaborated. We were going to be polite with one another. And then I get pissed off today. Well, the reason I got pissed off is because you put into the PWN that the services and the things that we had talked about in the last meeting was going to be recovery services and not ESY. We proceed to have a conversation today, and you want to bullshit me and tell me that the child doesn't qualify for ESY when we both know that is dead wrong. I'm sitting there arguing with a little bit lower down from the director of special education, and she's proceeding to tell me that no, she doesn't qualify. That's not what we said. This is recovery services. What the hell's recovery services? And, who came up with that name? We're not recovering from something. Yeah, we had a pandemic, but we're not sick. It's a school-based thing. Kids either regressed or they didn't. All right. They don't recover from regressing. They either make progress or they don't, but they don't recover from it. It's just a bad word. All right. And so you want to make sure the wording and the verbiage that is being used in your IEPs is on target, because then they'll go back and use it against you. And so she proceeded to continue to argue with me about ESY and this child qualifying. And I'm like, you do realize that this child's 2-3 years behind, right? Well, she's made substantial progress this year. What progress? Where's the data that shows she's made substantial progress? You keep talking about this damn data. Where's the data? Show me that she's made substantial progress. Mind you, this is the teacher that gave me a call and told me this child has not made progress. She's moving. She's not in the school system anymore. So she's saying, have a nice day, school system. I'm calling the advocate and I'm going to tell her all the shit. That's what happened. And so we're sitting here going back and forth, and she's proceeding to tell me that this child made progress. And I'm saying, where's the data? Where's the data? Where's the data? Show me the damn data. And nothing. So then the director of the private school that the student goes to based on behavior, mind you, if a child's in private school based on behavior, damn it, they qualify for ESY based on behavior. Come on now. They are no longer in the general school system, public school. It's paid for by the public school, but it's not, they're not in the public school based on behavior. And you're going to tell me she doesn't qualify for ESY? Like, did y'all lose your minds? I mean, she qualifies just based on behavior alone. All right? That behavior didn't change. We just had behaviors 2 weeks ago. We had significant behaviors 2 weeks ago. Are you going to deny that happened? Because the parent has a paper saying that there's an incident report. So, I mean, what are we doing here? Then the director finally chimes in. Kristen, is there some sort of list for? Yes, I can tell you right now. I've said it many times, but I will tell you again and again. There's 7 areas. I'll tell you in a second. So, the director of the private school finally chimes in, I think because she knew what was going on. I have a feeling she knew that the teacher contacted me. because I kept saying, not that I'm scared to, say the teacher contacted me. The teacher moved. Funny enough, her husband's in the military and they're moving to where my son is. So they're going to get to know my son real well. So I thought that was kind of funny and interesting. But, so, small world, right? But, and her husband's higher up than my son. But she's super sweet teacher. And it took guts for her to call me. All right. It took guts. All right. So that is an amazing teacher. One that will say, I'm going to put, my job aside, and the fact that administration could yell at me, fire me, whatever, or give me a bad reference and say, I'm going to do what's right by the child. That's a freaking amazing teacher to me. That takes guts. So she told me, because the student had come into this school this year, and so the child was only there a month. So it's not the teacher's fault that there was no progress. All right. Now she taught her this year, but she was basing it off goals that were already made before the pandemic. All right. That she didn't make. Now, she admitted, I said, you should have changed up the goals, because her comment is the goals are too difficult to understand and and written in such a difficult way that it's hard to even measure progress. I changed all the goals. I mean, they just started entering. She just today. But I mean, the problem is the director lady. It wasn't the director per se, but it was a couple under. I don't remember her title. But she wanted to argue about this ESY thing. Lady, the child qualifies for ESY. I mean, I don't care how you say it. The child qualifies. I mean, the fact that you're not saying it is making me question your ability to make responsible decisions. So the director did chime in, and she finally said, all right, well, you're right, Miss Woods. We did get a little bit distracted in the last meeting, and, we didn't go over all the qualifications. And mind you, I had already copied and pasted the qualifications into the chat. And so let's do that now, because you're right. We didn't really go through that. Okay, cool. All right, so she goes through it. The child qualifies. All of a sudden, something hit the director lady over the head, I guess. And all of a sudden, the child qualifies for ESY. No more discussion of that the child didn't qualify. Like that. Change like that. And the child qualified for every single one except one area. One. I don't get it. Why do they keep arguing with me about things that are factually wrong until they either are told differently or I argue with them. I don't give up, So I think they think I'm going to give up and just say, oh, okay. You're right. She doesn't qualify. No, I'm not going to say that. So we can sit and go around in circles and sit on that merry-go-round for 3 hours, but I'm not going to agree with you. So, all of a sudden it changed. It all changed. I know, Christina. Freaking insane. Yeah, Misty. What about the achievement gap? How much has it? None. Zero. And so that's what I said. I said, we're in this revolving door, and this is for all of us, okay, of where our kids that are behind, especially when you're getting to the 2, 3, and more years. If you're in that 1 year range, all right, push with all your might to get your child to stay where they are or keep moving. But once it gets to a year and a half, etc., the problem is the little bit of progress they may be making becomes nothing, because then what happens? Rocco? No! He just grabbed my whole bag of pretzels and chewed through the bag. So that little bit of progress becomes zero progress, because then they change grades. So because it's so little, by the time they change grades, they're still so far behind that it just is this revolving door of not significant amount of progress, not a sufficient amount, a good amount. It's so diminished and small and trivial and like a, what is it called? whatever. You know me, I don't know my words. So that's what's going on. And so it's frustrating because they're making progress. They're making progress. They're making progress. They're making progress. No, they're not. Okay? Because they keep moving on in grade, which they should. And you are not making the progress to where it is able to be seen and measured in the right way. All right. And so that's the revolving door we're in. All right. And then they're saying to us, come on, tell me, guys, how many times have you heard this one? Well, we have to introduce them to grade level. You know, your child's in 8th grade, but on a 3rd grade level, we have to introduce them to grade level. Don't you know? I don't know how. This is me telling you. I don't know how in the hell you can introduce a child to an 8th grade level when they're on a 3rd grade level. How do you do that? How does that minuscule? Thank you. How do you do that? That doesn't make any freaking sense to me. Don't try to wrap your heads around it. Don't you dare. Okay? What I mean by that is, don't you try to say to yourselves, talk yourselves, they're gaslighting you. All right? Do not question this. Do not second guess this. As parents, I'm going to keep it real. How does that make us feel? How does it make us feel when our kids are that significantly behind? Like shit, right? But then we got to get over ourselves. All right? Brush it off. It hurts. It sucks. I know. But I will say, we still got to look out for what's best for our kids. All right? It sucks and we hurt. Our heart hurts. But it doesn't change anything. And so we got to think and get off our pity party and focus on what's important. And that is getting our children what's needed and appropriate no matter what. And to do that, you have to be able to focus and not base it on emotion. And because if you base it on emotion, your thought process is going to be skewed. And you don't want that. You want to make reasonable, rational decisions. And you want to be able to consciously be aware of the pros and cons. And it's important to understand that even though as parents, if our child's in 8th grade, do we want them introduced to 8th grade level material? Sure, of course. But if they're on a 3rd, 4th, even 5th grade level, and they're in 8th grade, if you can rationally explain to me how that's going to work, I will hear you out. But I personally cannot make sense of that. A paraprofessional who works in a school system said they tried to put her on leave because the school district was in violation of her child's IEP. Wow, now that's freaking discrimination right there. So whatever happened to that? I mean, that's a straight up civil rights violation. Oh yeah, I heard recently grade level vocabulary words so they understand what is being discussed, so they have the opportunity to continue to learn. That's such a crock of shit, guys. Okay? Oh yeah, I'm going to introduce your child to 8th grade vocabulary words so that they can continue to learn and have the opportunity to understand what's being discussed. Mind you, I know your child is on a 3rd grade reading level, but I'm going to introduce them to 8th grade work because it's going to make them healthier. It's going to feed their brains material that they don't get. That is going to go in one ear, out the other. You're wasting precious time to introduce something that is not going to click, to say that you introduced them to something that was not going to click, and to say, oh, there is no law or rule, school districts, on introducing a student to grade level work if they are not there. There is no possible way. There's no possible way. And on the page, this is going to everybody. So hear me now. There is no possible way for a child on the 3rd or 4th grade level ever to just all of a sudden be introduced 8th grade work and bam, Rocco, no. And to all of a sudden do 8th grade work. They're on a 3rd, 4th, 5th grade level. There is no way. Why do they do that? We're educators. That's what kills me. You don't do that. Okay? You just don't. Sorry about the dogs, guys. So it drives me nuts. So anyway, here's where, if you want to hold your child back, the school's refusing, your child actually is behind, and this is what you want to do. You don't have to, but if you want to hold your child back and the school's refusing and your child is not academically ready, they're behind, etc., you have reason to say what you're saying and request what you're requesting, and they refuse, no, it's either because of financial reasons or data benefits, okay? So data benefits, let me explain that to you, all right? So when you go and you're going to move to, so what should we do if our kids are well below grade level? Well, you first need to have an IEP meeting. Then you need to get all the data in your FERPA request and put in your FERPA request of everything that you need. And then you need to challenge them. Why the hell is my child behind? What's going on? Why am I now just finding out about this? Where's the data? How far is my child behind? What grade level is my child on? If my child's on a 3rd grade level in 5th grade, why is that? Why is the gap not being bridged? What are you doing to bridge the gap? What kind of compensatory services are you going to provide? How much extra ESY are you going to provide because my child's 3, 4, 5 years behind? What are you doing about it? Why have you not called an IEP meeting to tell me that my child is below grade level, behind, etc.? Why is it that the goals are still the same? Why have the goals not changed? Are the goals being mastered? Are they being repeated every year? Does that help, Wendy? You don't want to get me going. And then they need to pay for what they did, and you need to figure it out, and you need to make changes right away, immediately. Okay? All right. So when you move to the new school district, okay, then what do? Most people, not everybody, but a lot of people will look up the school district. A lot of people will look up the area, all of that kind of stuff, right? So when you look up school districts, all right, and you look up, an area that you're moving to, all right, and it's bad data, that's a big deal. So basically, you're looking up data on school districts of places you want to move, and the data is wrong because the school districts are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, so that the data shows different. Or the finances and the things that come in are more. Because their data shows this when it's really this. Okay? So there's a big problem with that. All right? And it devalues, for our typical children, the diploma principle. How do I know that my child is getting this type of diploma if your standards are here because of choices that you're making that you shouldn't be making? Not okay. All right? And, it's almost like you have to make a 4.0 across everything to get up to where you need to get up to, if that makes sense, if you just kind of look at the numbers. Because data is important. What's reported is important. And if it's reported in a wrong way, what you look up online in reference to a school district, if you want to move, is wrong. All right? So that is very important to keep in mind. What can you do about it? Not much. But if you know your child's 2, 3, 4 years behind, you know you're gonna know. All right. And then the school system's refusing, call NBC on your side. They love shit like this. School system refusing parents' request to hold child back when child is 2, 3, 4 years behind. They love that shit. Call your local paper. Call, Washington Post is a big one, Call different things. They will pick it up. Start being vocal about the things that are going on behind the scenes that you know about, you find out about, that's being refused when there's valid data and dictation as to what's going on. Because the more noise you make, the more change that happens. Now, granted, boy, do they love coming after me. I get cease and desist letters, which don't mean shit, by the way, guys. And, I get all kinds of stuff because I'm obviously a threat in some way when that's not even what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them to do the right thing. I'm trying to get them to understand that these children, have to have what's needed and appropriate, not the freaking Cadillac, the Toyota. I get that. And I'm actually very, very reasonable. But if you want to play games, then I'm a really good game player. So it may not be right away either. May take another IEP or an IEP or a request for due process or mediation or whatever. But I'm game. A lot of parents don't realize that they got to take it to a certain extent sometimes to have change happen. And I get that. I was that parent too. But you got to understand, the more you cannot, here's one thing that I hold parents to. All right? You can take it or leave it. You can like me and not like me. I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is parents who will bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and do nothing about it. Stop bitching. All you're doing is wasting time and your voice. If you're not going to take action on the things that are bothering you, and that's anything in life, y'all, then stop talking about it. Are you talking about it to hear yourself talk? Are you talking about it so that someone gives you attention to feed into whatever drama you're causing? Because that's what it's doing. All right? If you're going to make a stink, do something about it. All right? If you feel like, here's where I want you to understand. If you feel like you're backed up against a wall and you feel like, okay, I'm bitching, it's not that I don't want to do something about it, Raven. I do. I just don't know what to do. That's different. That is not at all what I'm talking about. But there are parents out there that bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch. I mean, I remember my older daughter, she was in competitive cheerleading and my son was in travel football. Oh my God. I never got involved in like the parent cliques. It was too dramified for me. I don't do drama. All right. And so I think I did so much drama in high school that I do not do drama. I run from drama. I have no interest in drama. You want to cause drama? Go do that over on your own because I want no parts of that. Now, what I will do is create a stink and create noise to make change. And I'm totally calm, cool, collected, and secure in who I am to understand that I'm going to get some backlash. You got to understand that too. All right? Stop letting fear run you. Okay? Because that totally blinds you into doing what needs to be done for your kids. Stop allowing fear. That's a good t-shirt, right? Stop allowing fear to control what and how you do it when it comes to the school district. Do what you gotta do, life or death, for your child. They deserve it. They deserve an amazing education. Just like any student, any child, not just disabilities, any child does. Okay? So just do what you got to do. Don't allow the bureaucracy of school districts scare you. All right? Don't allow it. You want to make sure that you focus on what's important, your kiddos. Understand that if you really want to hold your child back, that you can. You just need to go about it in the right way. You need to make sure that you have your documentation, that you have everything that you need, and go for it. If there's a reason to hold them back, not because, oh, well, they're just a little immature. No. You need to know that they are 2, 3, 4 years behind, that they are progressing in a very, like Bill says, minuscule way. I call it also a trivial, very trivial way. In the education system in 2017 with Andrew versus Douglas, it was called a de minimis amount of progress. Okay? So if that's the case, you hands down have every right to request to have your child held back. Every right. Every right. All right? This year, this is news. I'm considering holding Skylar back. And I'm not a fan of that in an older grade. But I'm possibly going to do it this year. Okay? So, but that's a me decision. You know, I can say, do I typically say that it's wise? I don't know how you want to call it, you know, to hold a child back in an upper grade. It can go both ways. I've said that, you know, it can cause emotional distress and harm if the child is, you know, high functioning and, you know, just certain disabilities. But then it also could be a benefit. There's always pros and cons. You have to one has to outweigh the other. And, you know, I'm definitely a fan of it when they're in elementary school. So, you know, but it's, again, a personal decision. The reason I would be making the decision I'm making is because the progress that my child's making right now is so substantial that giving her an extra year to do that would benefit her, what does IDEA say, in the real world. It would give her that extra time to keep making that progress. Okay? So you have to have a reason behind what you're doing. They obviously have to be behind, you know, and you want to make sure that at the end of the day that you can live with yourself, that you're fine with that it's okay, that it's a good thing, that it's only going to benefit them. All right? And run with it. Don't second guess yourself. The more you go and say, pick up the phone and call your friends, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about holding her back. What do you think? No, don't do that. All right? Because they are not living with you. They don't know your child's records. Okay? They may know what you tell them, but that's different. All right? So just like when I work with my clients, I don't go by, you know, what exactly everything that they tell me. I listen to that, of course, but I don't really make any decisions, thought processes, opinions, all that kind of stuff until I see the data. Let me see it. I got to see it. I'm a visual person. I got to see it. So with that said, my husband's home, so it's going to get loud, y'all. So with that said, make decisions like this on your own. Be secure with it. It's okay. You know, I get we need that, you know, that love, if you will, and that care. I'm going to the gym, Sky. I am going. After I go live, I'm going, okay? I am.
I'll take it.
Okay. What was I saying? But I just want you guys to be secure in what you do. I'm not trying to be hard on you at all, ever. But I want you to be secure in what you do. I want you to be okay with the decisions you make. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing anything to harm your child. So be okay with it. All right. You're obviously thinking about it for a reason. Something within your gut and brain is telling you that you need to do something. Follow that. It's usually right. Okay. So if you have any questions, post them below. I'm going to answer a couple now. But just remember social promotion. All right. School districts do certain things based off of data, money, hierarchy, what they can put down. Like, for example, testing, having a child on a, not on, I guess, not on the SOL track, or here it's SOL, but whatever your state test is, not on that track, then what happens is they can go on the modified, okay, assessment track, and then the school system will fight you on that. Oh, your child doesn't qualify. I mean, I've heard that so many times. Oh, your child doesn't qualify. And I said, what do you mean they don't qualify? Because I don't even need to look at their checklist to know that they qualify. So I question, how do you know that? How can you even say that? And so the more I push it, then they say, well, let's bring out the checklist. Yeah, you do that. Let's bring out that checklist. Let's start checking those boxes. Let's do that. So then we go through the checklist, and of course the child qualifies. I mean, I don't understand the games that happen. I don't get it. I will never get it. This is what I do, and I don't get it. I don't think I can ever process ignorance. I just can't. And game playing. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't make sense of it. I honestly feel that it is abuse to children. That is my word for it. And I don't care what they say or think. Because in my mind, when you make decisions like that and automatically say a child doesn't qualify, when you sure as hell know that they do, unless you're just stupid, you're in the wrong damn career. If you are an educator, know a child with special needs qualifies for a modified curriculum or a modified assessment, or, needs to be on the alternative assessment track, and you're saying, oh, no, they don't qualify. Or you're not coming to, tell me, what school system has come to you and said, hey, your child's 2 years behind? They probably should not be on the state assessment track. If your child, and I've kind of changed with this. No, I haven't. I haven't changed with this. I don't agree with assessment tracks if a child is behind. No assessment track. You can sign that you don't want your child to be state tested, because whether it's the state assessment or the alternative assessment, they're assessed. It is a state test either way you go. Okay? So with the state test, there's obviously standards, rules, policies, etc., that the state has to hold the school districts accountable for. And the school districts have to adhere to that. Well, the alternative one, okay, which is the modified one, if you will, that one is still a state assessment. And so guess what? The school districts still have rules, policies, etc. to adhere to. This is what it does, is you need to make a decision. If your child's behind, get them the hell off the assessment track for a diploma. All right, stop worrying about the diploma. Unless they're in high school, don't worry about that right now. Forget about it. All right, then you need to decide alternative assessment or no assessment. Here's the pros and cons, okay? Well, there's not really a con for the 0. So here's the deal, unless they're in high school, okay? High school's different, okay? So you have the 0 track and the alternative assessment track. The alternative assessment track is still a state test, okay? The school has to adhere to certain things. It is abuse. You'd be shocked of who is really in control of this. Yeah. So I found out, here's a personal experience. My child was doing algebra, and I kept hearing it, because, again, this guy was taught from a BCBA, and she was a teacher in a BCBA, and she came into the school. And then her para was a RBT, which I loved that scenario, but it was, I couldn't understand. Like, I kept hearing it, but I didn't question it. She's doing algebra, she's doing this, she's doing this in social studies, and in my mind I'm thinking, like, I questioned it in my mind, but I never said anything for a while. And then finally I said, what do you mean algebra? You know, I finally said something because I heard it so many times. You know how you have to kind of hear it? Like, at first I was like, nah, she's not doing algebra. Like, what are they talking about? So I just didn't think about it anymore. Have you guys had that happen to you where you're like, you might know something, hear something, but then you just like, nah, what? And so finally I asked and I said, what do you mean? Why do you keep talking about that algebra? And they're like, oh, well, part of the alternative assessment track, she has to do certain things. What? What do you mean she has to do certain things? I thought it was just a modified test. Well, there's certain things that the child has to do and that we have to send to the state. Like sometimes the school systems just have to enter it into the computer. Sometimes they have to mail it, whatever the state system is. But the school has to actually physically give the state something saying that they worked on X, Y, and Z with your child. I had no idea. No clue. And then I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, when the hell is my child doing algebra? You guys gave me my child's schedule. When was she doing algebra? Because algebra is not on the schedule. Well, we fit it into here, here, and here, and when we're working with her. Well, why the hell didn't you tell me? Do you see what I'm getting at? Think about all the things that you probably don't know that's going on in school with your child. And I know we're at summer right now, but you start school again next year. These are the things that you got to start thinking about now because it's happening. I can promise you. It happened to me. And so immediately I said she is not to be on an assessment track. You are not to have her on that alternative assessment track. Because the first thing that came to my mind is, my child's not meeting her goals. You have her on a damn alternative assessment track. This was years ago. You have her on a damn alternative assessment track where she's doing algebra when she's barely doing double-digit subtraction and regrouping. And you have her doing algebra because the state tells you you have to? What the hell is wrong with that picture? The school is doing things that are just wrong. And we have to put a stop to it. So you have to, you know those damn procedural safeguards you get or don't get? There's some parents that don't get them. Y'all need to read that shit. All right? And you need to also understand, because in those procedural safeguards, it does say parents' rights, but it doesn't tell you all your rights. Try to find a list of your rights. Anybody in their state, I challenge you, I will give you a $50 Amazon gift card. If you can give me a list of your state, writing down what your rights are as a parent of a child with special needs. They aren't out there. And if they are, show me. So that they have to give you these procedural safeguards for you to read that don't have a list of all your rights. It has stuff. I mean, it's good, but they don't tell you all your rights. They don't tell you everything that you can do. They don't tell you all the power that you actually have. And it's a whole hell of a lot of power. And the fact that you are the people that know your child best, and to actually, in your minds, some of you, okay, because I know I talk to tons of you, where in your mind you're thinking, well, I don't know what to do. Which that's fine. I got you there. But don't let them change the fact that you know your child best. That can never be taken away from you. Just because, even for myself, just because we're educators does not in any way entitle us to even say that we know your child better than you, that we know them academically better than you, that we have the expertise. Okay, I'm sorry, but if you have your 4-year bachelor's degree in education does not make you an expert. When I had my bachelor's degree, 2 masters later. I sure as hell was not an expert at all. At all. So anybody who has a bachelor's degree in education, whatever, you are not an expert. I'm here to tell you. Go ahead, email me, cuss me out, whatever you gotta do. But you aren't an expert. You're not. I don't know why school systems say that, because it's the funniest thing ever. Do not allow that to skew your thoughts, mamas, dads, and grandmas, and whoever else has these children under your roofs and you are advocating for them. Aunts, uncles, whomever. Okay? You guys have a ton of power. That doesn't mean you abuse power. It means that power can get your child, biological or not, what's needed and appropriate for them to make progress in the educational setting. And guess what? Raven Woods, an IEP advocate, does not ask for Cadillacs. I ask for what's fair, what's right, what that child needs, and what that child deserves. Like the 2 children that I am advocating for and representing as a representative, qualified representative in Texas, and they are both nonverbal. And the school system seems to think speech 1 time a week, every other week is sufficient. But they're educators, guys. They're experts. Do you see why I get so angry and bitter? It is not okay. And I think I get bitter. That's a good word for it. Is, hi, Marlene. How are you? Always sharing. I'm so late, but that's so powerful. I need to actually read, understand my rights as a parent in detail. Yeah. And the thing is that they don't give you all of them. And the procedural safeguards are great, but they don't give you any check-off list. Okay, is my rights as a parent and equal team member being supported, adhered to, respected, and treated as such? No. You know what I mean? There's no freaking checklist, y'all. All right, you either know them or you don't. If you don't, you gotta learn them. All right? And the fact that I know what is okay and what's not. And the school systems will still argue with me in regards to ESY. Now, granted, everybody except one, which we're dealing with that right now, they've all gotten ESY. We've gone back to the table. Now, have I gotten, a fight? Have they fought me and said, we're not, that child doesn't qualify? Bullshit. Yes, they do. What do they not qualify under? Tell me. Tell me what they don't qualify. Well, they haven't made regression. They haven't regressed. How do you know? What data are you going by? Because the last I checked, this child's 3 years behind. If I don't recall, recoupment is one of those 7 categories. I mean, I'm not an expert and all, but that would be recoupment, right? 3 years behind, you go to ESY to hopefully recoup part of that gap that's missing. I mean, is there a disconnect here? Do you see what I'm saying, y'all? You have me on this tangent now. It's all y'all's fault. I'm supposed to go to the gym. I think I'm just procrastinating because I need to go to the gym, but I don't want to go to the gym. Anybody ever feel that way? Okay. So that's it. That's my rant and rave for tonight. All right. I do have openings come the beginning of the year. All right. I am taking off, y'all. July 26th through August 9th. But I am open. Okay. And I have spots. I know you guys have messaged me and I've kind of put it on the back burner for a hot minute. I needed to clear my head. I am sure you've noticed I haven't gone live as much. I have needed to clear my head. I have had, it is 298 IEPs since early last year. And I mean, to the point where they were doubled in a day, like I had 2 today over ESY. And so I needed to, like, and you know what's weird? Here's what's really weird is I feel guilty when I'm not working. It's very weird. Very, very, very weird. I question myself, like, Raven, why are you feeling all weird because you're taking time off? I mean, it's weird. I feel weird about it, but it's because I'm just so used to, you know, advocating and doing what I do that when I'm kind of like, okay, I have a lot to do, you know, I'm thinking about getting a podcast together. I'm, finishing up my YouTube so that can kind of solidify. I've started my Instagram. So follow me on Instagram, guys. I'm getting that going now. So Instagram's actually coming before YouTube. So YouTube has been started, but I'm like changing like the titles of certain lives, and I have to get my the picture, that blank picture put up, and so I'm like kind of doing that part. But Instagram's ready to go. I'm starting that now, so you can follow me there and here, and then I'll let you know when YouTube is off and running. It's because it's kids. Yeah. So yeah, guys, message me if you need anything. I do have openings right now. I'm saying 6. Normally it's 4, but because I'm, booking out, I will say 6, and I'm capping it, and then I'll let you know when I have an opening again. Hi, Gina. How are you? All right, we got BB on here, and yeah, Kristen and Christina and Christine. Okay, so Misty, what about Achievement Gap? How much has it closed? Yeah, so it's important, I mean, it's crazy. Is there some sort of list qualifications for ESY? Yes, and I told you I'd get that to you. All right. What do you mean we, Wendy? I don't understand your question. Let me know. Hi, Jessica. I was told no to holding back due to we need to think of the backhand service like transition when he is older. What the heck does that mean? The back end services? That has nothing to do with if you hold your child back. There's no such thing that would come into play. All right? There's no service that would be denied to your child based on the fact that you held your child back. That is a blatant lie.
I'm not. Absolutely not.
That's right, Kim. She says rattle their cage and make noise to get what you want done. Okay. Good. And Jessica, I was just saying, like, I was being a smartass, that there's no checklist out there, even in procedural safeguards, that says, okay, number 1, this is your right. Number 2, this is your right. Number 3, this is your right. Number 4, this is your right. Of all the things that you have a right to, or a right that they can't disregard and will try to. Okay? So, and remember, the alternative, okay, so many of you are led to believe that if your child is here, this is where you kind of got to know your situation, and if your child can or cannot at this moment in time get a diploma. All right? If your child cannot get a diploma right here and right now, there's no what's the word? There's nothing that's going to hurt your child in any way academically if you remove your child from the assessment track, diploma track, if you will, And if you want to put them on the alternative, so they're still testing, but know that if they're working on things that the alternative assessment track requires and they're not at that level yet, what I questioned and what I got pissed off about for my child was, okay, well, you're taking my child away from working on her goals to work on something that she completely does not understand, which was algebra, when she was still on double digit subtraction and regrouping. And I could make no sense of that. I'm very big on, if you're going to do something, have a purpose. What is that purpose and what is the outcome of it? What is it that it's going to give or feed or provide your child? Okay? If you can't answer that, then question why you would make that decision. Okay? So, hey, Skylar, I can't hear. So, question why. Why do you want that? What is the purpose of it? How is it going to benefit them, your child? And is it productive? Okay? If the answer is no, it's not productive, no, it's not going to benefit my child, obviously you know the answer. You're not going to do it. But if it is productive, how is it going to be productive? If it is beneficial, how is it going to be beneficial? All right? And, once you answer those questions, I'll tell you something. The first time you answer it, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, the first time you say yes or no, that's the one you got to go with. It's kind of like when you're taking a test. Have you ever taken a test and, your gut said, oh, it's that one, and then you chose a different answer and it ended up being that one that you wanted to choose in the first place, but then you second guessed yourself? It's just like that. I always say leaders make decisions, right or wrong, mistake or not, they make decisions. All right? So once you make a decision, own it and stick to it. Don't waver. Don't get on that teeter-totter and seesaw. Make a decision and go with it. But make that decision wisely by asking questions. Pros, cons, is it productive? Is it not productive? What is it going to benefit? How is it going to benefit? What is it going to offer, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can sit back and know that you made a decision. And then what is even better is that once that decision's made, say you made a mistake, say it didn't work, just like goals. Okay, it was too difficult of a goal, or there's no progress being made. Okay, then you got to go back and ask yourself questions again. Not get hard on yourself because you made a mistake. Not get hard on yourself because it wasn't, up to your liking. It's one of those things where you just go back to the table and you say, okay, well, what didn't work? Why didn't it work? What do I need to do to hopefully make a change to that? What do I need to play around with? What do I need to try? Sometimes it's not, oh, I know this. Sometimes it's like, oh, let's try this. Let's try this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this, and you keep trying and you keep trying until you freaking nail it. And that's just how things have to be sometimes with our kiddos, because we don't know everything and we have to figure it out. And the only way to figure it out is to play with it. And so what I will do is I will give school systems an opportunity to play with it, because they don't offer to do it. I have to tell them to do it. And I have to say, okay, well, we need to try something different because whatever you're doing is not working. And they hate that. It puts them on the defensive every time. But it's almost like if you don't smack them in the face like that, it doesn't sink. They'll sit and believe in whatever it is that they believe their own lies. So you gotta look at it like this. Okay, if someone's gonna get it done, it's gonna be you. So someone's gotta become what? The CEO of their IEP. All right? It is what it is. Learn to take charge. If you're a passive person, don't be passive in an IEP. Once you walk out the door, once you click off on the internet, go back to being passive. Totally fine. You got to change that face and change it all up when you go into that meeting. I'm telling you. You have to have a totally different mindset. And if you can do that, you will succeed in making change. I'm going to end with this. I second guess myself all the time. I am not perfect. I fail all the time. But I don't let that stop me. All right? And that's just in life and everything in general. The reason I make it work, the reason the kids get what they need, is because I don't give up. I don't stop. I don't care what I have to do. And I will tell my parents, this is what we got to do. We got to keep trying. We got to do this. And guess what? It's worked out every time but 4 this year. And one of them rectified itself, so 3. So out of 293, 3, shit, I will take it. Because at the end of the day, it's your children getting what they need. And that's what's important. No matter what the backlash is, no matter what people say about me or you, I don't care. Care about what difference you're making, not what he or she or anybody else has to say about you. Because guess what? It's words. It doesn't change anything. It's not going to change what you do. It doesn't change what I do. If someone says, oh my God, she's such an aggressive, crazy woman, it's not going to change me from being an aggressive, crazy woman. I'm going to probably do it better. Because if I have to be a crazy woman to make it happen every now and then, I got that in the bag. So, do I think that, and here's the mentality with that. Do I think in my head, okay, I'm going to be a crazy ass person to get these kids what they need? No, I don't think that way. Believe it or not, I don't think that way. But I do have in the back of my head, even though I always, unless it's something different, I always approach something with, okay, I'm gonna start this new, wipe the slate clean, and let's start over. Can't sit in the past. We got to start over. So I will say that. But the minute you start playing games with me, don't try to say, oh, you need to be respectful. Oh, you need to watch your tone. Oh, you're being abusive to my staff. That one kills me. That one kills me. You're being abusive to my staff. And so I will say, how am I being abusive? How am I being abusive to your staff? Because if I don't recall, not one of them have opened their mouths. Oh, that's right, because you sent them an email to tell them to shut up, to not talk in the meeting unless they're talked to, because they're puppets and they have to listen to what you say or you'll fire them. Is that right? Did I get that right? No. So, mind you, okay, I don't push the bucket, so to speak, if you will. Hold on, I gotta plug this in. Okay. So I don't push things to a point unless I'm pushed to that point. Okay? I don't do very well when someone tries to play me for a fool. Okay? Because I'll be the first one in an IEP meeting. I did it several times today. Explain that to me. I'm not following. I don't understand. Can you explain that to me? Because I don't assume. Never assume. Oh, they're probably doing it because of this. No. Ask them what they're doing and why they're doing it. Never, ever assume. Assuming will piss people off. It'll piss you off. Have you ever gotten really, 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 really mad at a situation? All right, so if you're married, this happens all the time with our husbands, okay? So we get really mad at a situation, okay? Because they did something. We think they did something. And we assume that they did it because of XYZ. And we get so mad, don't we? Right? So we get so mad. We're like all worked up, like our adrenaline is moving, all right? We are all pissed off. Our minds are going a mile a minute. We are ticked. And then we find out after we scream and yell and, have our little tantrum that that's not where they were coming from at all. But we got ourselves all worked up over what we assumed was correct. Right? That doesn't mean we weren't right a little bit. All right? We're always right a little bit, right? You didn't hear that, Bill. But aside from, we're right a little bit. Assuming's not good. Okay? Especially in an IEP. Okay? So if you've heard of those 4 agreements, that's one of them. Never assume. There's a book called The 4 Agreements. Excellent, excellent book. So don't assume. Okay? Know that an IEP team are just people. Don't be intimidated. They are people. Unless you're going to Costco or BJ's or whatever you guys have, Price Club or whatnot, and you walk in there and because there's tons of people, you're intimidated. Don't be intimidated by an IEP team. What the hell are you intimidated by? Stop doing that to yourselves. They don't know any more than you. You know your child best. So walk in there or go online, which I say go online. You own it. You own who you are and the knowledge that you have, and all 10 of them cannot add up to you because you still know your child best. And it's all about changing the mindset. Okay? You can hold your own. You can do it. Okay? I'll tell you one more thing. All right, I talked too long today. I had 2 parents this past week. They love it when something goes wrong because I'm entertaining to them. And I told them this week. I told one of them today. Really? Because she goes, I cannot wait for you to get a hold of them. I'm like, what do you mean? This is a team actually that her team's actually pretty awesome. Like they're so easy. I'll take her team any day. I mean, we got in a little tiff today and shit, that was nothing. She goes, what is mine compared to other people's? And I said to her, yours is probably one of the easiest I've done all year. I mean, cake. I would take it any day. And then I had another parent just yesterday who, maybe it was the day before yesterday, who she was like, well, what do you think? Like, and we haven't even really gotten started yet. Hers is going to really start next year. And she said, what do you think? Like, what do you think? What's going on? And I said, well, being that you're the second person in this same school district, one in which I'm in due process with, and then they get my first email from me, knowing me very well, yeah, going to be a difficult one. On top of it, everything that she has been told is a lie. Complete lie. And, this is infuriating because everything she's told me, I'm not joking. All right. And I'll talk more about this case early next year. But she said, how bad is it? And I said, it's pretty bad. And she said, well, what are you thinking? Like, and we haven't even had our first 4-hour yet. We've just actually talked extensively because that's what I do. I always talk to people in advance and I like to, let you guys get off your chest what you need to get off and let me hear what's going on because I want to help. And so she said, so what are you thinking is going to happen with, the fact that, you're in a due process case with them and, do you think that the same thing's going to happen to me? And I said, I don't know. I said, yours is 10 times more difficult than the one I'm in due process with. But I said, mind you, I'm in due process with them. We're going to mediation, and maybe they're not going to fight us too much, even though the response back to my first email was from the attorney. So, it's one of those things where things actually do take a turn, which this one very much could. And just like the one I was telling you about last week, where they fought us. We had a great meeting. The parent got everything, other than a couple things we didn't talk about yet. I think it was like speech and something else. And then this time, we went back to the table the second time, and complete opposite, like complete 180. Like the attorney was there, her and I fought for an hour, and a bunch of BS came up. Nothing that we said last time was true. Mind you, we recorded the conversation. And then, it was just a mess. That second meeting was a mess. All right. Then the parents put in that request for due process. The next meeting, bam, complete 180 again. Everything changed. They got the speech they wanted. They got the touch chat that they wanted, that I requested. Best program ever for a device. They got the touch chat training that they should be getting. They got the new program to touch chat. They got the speech. It's weird. How do you go from, okay, we get along and we're going to agree, to bringing an attorney and completely disregarding that first meeting, to, oh, the only thing that's going to make a difference is if you file for due process, and then, oh, bam, I'm going to change. That's what's frustrating. But I'm going to go. I've talked enough today. Hopefully you guys, got something from it all. And never do an IEP live on gym day. All right. So I will talk to you guys soon. And make sure you post your messages below. If you have any questions, message me. Again, I have 6 spots open. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. See you guys later. Really quick, though, make sure you message me on WhatsApp, and I will post the link. All right? See you later.